What is up, Ravens flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. James and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, and we are here to talk about some not-so-fun Ravens news, but some fun 410 Sports Talk news for all you guys that are wondering. Our little my wife and I, Tanya, had our baby 2 days ago, and his name is Henry Alexander Haskell. He is beautiful and awesome. I'm a daddy and super excited about it and loving life. Today is also my birthday. So I say all that to say we are the most dedicated 410, or we are the most dedicated Ravens reporting source that you have, because I just got home from the hospital 4 hours ago and it's my birthday, and I'm here with you guys.
Yes. First of all, round of applause for Jimbo.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
And congratulations, of course. It's going to be the best of dads, no doubt about it in my mind. But yes, as Jimmy said, we do have some serious business to talk about. But before we get into it, I want to first let you know this show is brought to you by MyBookie. Winning season has started off hot, but MyBookie's continuing to crank up the heat with a $50,000 Survivor contest. So whether you're new or an existing customer, if you made a deposit with MyBookie, you will earn an entry into that $50,000 Survivor contest absolutely free. Mm-hmm. And to play, all you got to do is pick one winner a week to keep your streak alive and have a shot at the grand prize. So start off strong with the Ravens beating the Lions, who the Lions had not beaten the Baltimore Ravens since Lamar Jackson was in second grade. So, I mean, that's a pretty good bet. Or you could take the Steelers, who are looking to bounce back after last week and continue their historical dominance over the Bengals. So either way, it's a simple and easy to play and win, even if you don't have a ton of betting experience, which is why I always choose MyBookie for my NFL contest. So head to mybookie.ag right now and get in on the competition and use my promo code 410, that's 410, to receive double your first deposit and get instant access into that $50,000 Survivor pool. Again, that's promo code 410 to instantly double your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Yeah, stop texting your old bookie that's going to break your thumb if you don't pay him in time, and go to MyBookie, right?
That's right.
Like, let's hop into 2021 and make some money, right?
That's it. But let's get into the not so happy news, Jimbo.
Oh, geez.
Let's get into it.
I think DK's got a tweet here, and I'm sure you guys have seen it as well. The Baltimore Ravens have placed on the reserve/COVID list a number of players. We'll start with my favorite, Jalen Ferguson, who has tested positive for COVID-19. And as far as I know, and Glenn, please correct me if I'm wrong, he's the only one that's tested positive and that we know of. Right. And the other players are out due to close contact. And of course, like you see on the screen here, those players are Justin Houston, Brandon Williams, Justin Metabike, of course, along with Jalen Ferguson, who I already mentioned. But those three specifically, close contact, Jalen Ferguson tested positive. So safe to say our defense and our defensive front is looking a little anemic going into this game against the Detroit Lions. So, Glenn, I mean, where are you at? Where's your concern level? The Lions aren't great, but Jared Goff can sling it when he's got time. I mean, that's fair to say.
Yeah.
And they're desperate 0-2. They don't want to be 0-3, especially with a new coach. Where's your head at with all this?
Well, I mean, I guess if you had to pick 1 week for this to happen, this is probably the week you would choose. I mean, just imagine if this happened last week against the Chiefs. Imagine taking those guys off the field for the Ravens. I doubt they win that game now. So I think if it's going to happen any week, you like the placement of it, because the Lions certainly aren't known for a hammer and run attack. They definitely, if they're going to get it done, it's going to be through the air.
Right.
But nonetheless, you can't. I mean, this is every given Sunday. You can't sleep on this Lions team. This Lions team can score in bunches. And like you mentioned, Jared Goff, he's new to the team, so in theory, he's going to get better every week, right? He's going to get more acclimated with the offense, more familiar with his teammates, and he could improve every week. And hopefully, this isn't the week that they finally get in the win column, because they've been close. I mean, they damn near came back and beat the Niners after the clawing out of a huge hole in week 1. And Had a nice first half last week against the Packers before they ultimately the Packers pulled away a bit in the second half. But this is, no team you can just sleep on and walk right through. But if you look at their schedule and you had to pick one team, this is probably that one team. So I think they can. I think they can make some adjustments, and I think we're going to get into some of those adjustments right now. Do you have the list of adjustments in front of you, Jimbo?
Yeah, DK has them up right here. He's going to put them up on the screen.
Perfect.
And count on Eric DeCosta, of course, to be a step ahead of the game. So, with those guys not being on the active roster, of course, players can then be activated or elevated. So Ravens elevated 4 players from practice squad as COVID replacements. Josh Bynes, who we all know and love. Reginald McKenzie, who, in full disclosure, I don't know a ton about. Kevon Seymour. Now, we did see this guy out at camp, and he looked all right. I mean, he didn't look crazy out of place. I thought he made some plays. And the big boy, former first-round pick, Andre Smith. So interesting to see that. Of course, we know that Pernell McPhee and Dalen Hayes were both questionable, but the fact that they promoted no outside linebackers means 2 things. 1, they're looking healthy to play on Sunday. 2, they're getting a lot of reps because that outside linebacker group does now consist of those 2, Pernell and Hayes, at Bowser and the one, the only Odafe Owe. That's right. So I mean, it's really interesting. I think the moves are good. I mean, as good as they can be based on the circumstances. And I agree with you. I don't know my concern levels through the roof, but it is an every given Sunday thing. I think overall, there's a couple things that come to my mind. As far as how this impacts what happens on the football field. 1, it makes me nervous about the fact that this is week 3, and we're already having issues, and we're not the only team. It makes me think, okay, what about later on? Like you said, what if the timing is worse? What if this is a Browns game? What if this is a Steelers game later on in the season? So it makes me think that. It makes me a little concerned. Number 2, I want to get into the rules of all this, right? Because there are reasons why certain players are not close contact and others are. So I think that you have some of those in front of you, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So I think that those are important to bring up because really that's what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, the protocol is what it is. And it's just the NFL made it clear that they're going to be, far more strict when it comes to these protocols on unvaccinated players. That's just how they installed their rules, and unfortunately, some of these guys on the Ravens are having to face that right now. So this is directly from the NFL's COVID protocol. It says fully vaccinated individuals will not be designated as high risk close contacts and will not be required to isolate away from the club facility as a result. So if you're on the reserve COVID-19 list, then it's one of 2 ways. Either you had a positive test, whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, or you're an unvaccinated player and you've been close contact with someone who has tested positive. And that's unfortunate because if you're, there's a lot of advantages, of course, just about playing time if you are vaccinated. And some of those are, if you are unvaccinated, let's see, if you're unvaccinated, you are not, if you're unvaccinated, you are subject to a mandatory 10-day quarantine if you test positive. If you're fully vaccinated, then you just need 2 negative tests within a 24-hour or 24 hours apart to then be activated back. So if you get tested positive and you're not vaccinated, it's a mandatory 10 days. Boom, no questions asked. But if you are vaccinated, you do have some wiggle. You can get back to action much quicker. So it's just about how much time you're unfortunately going to be forced to miss. So we understand, obviously, it is a personal decision, but it does have some team ramifications that come into play.
And certainly the NFL made, like you said, their stance was very clear in that they knew that bringing these rules down, it was going to affect the relationships in locker rooms. It was going to have a residual impact. Like you said, every decision that a player makes, which we respect everyone's personal decision, but inevitably it has impacts on other people.
Yeah.
I mean, your teammates, your coaches, fans, people's wallets, right? Like every win counts, every, good film on tape counts. And so this is a really unfortunate thing, especially a guy like Justin Madubuike who came off an awesome awesome game. Ready to pile it on. Playing Detroit to really, continue to gain some momentum. And so, yeah, it's really unfortunate. Am I concerned? No, I think the Ravens still get the W. I mean, we still got Lamar under center and a lot of momentum. This is unrelated, but the offensive line should look exactly the same this week, unless I'm mistaken. But based on the fact that Ronnie will still be out, I'm not saying that it's better to have Alejandro Villanueva at left side instead of Ronnie, but it is nice to have some consistency instead of it being, changing every single week. So at least we know what we're going to get, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and hopefully they look like they did last week, because they were phenomenal last week. But let me try and get you a little concerned and see if it works, Jimbo.
All right.
Okay. Because, the unfortunate break, the unfortunate thing is that when you have close contact, it usually affects one position group, right? So it's the front seven that's getting hurt right now. So Jalen Ferguson, not a big loss there, right? He wasn't getting a ton of snaps. Yeah, wasn't getting a ton of snaps. And with the return, with the apparent return of Dalen Hayes, the first appearance of the regular season, honestly, that's probably an upgrade in most people's minds. So not really worried there. But it's obvious we're going to miss Justin Houston, right? I mean, a guy like that on the edge, the experience he brings, the talent he brings, we're going to miss him. There's no doubt about that. And then we know that when Brandon Williams is not on the field, Jimbo, our run defense typically suffers, right? People tend to run right up the middle when they see Big Brandon not out there. And they've done so with success, apart from when Derek Wolfe was in there, right? Derek Wolfe was he was a stabilizing force last year. Really held his own and held it down in there when the big guys were out. Well, Derek Wolfe is still fighting a back injury, so he's not going to be out there either. We haven't seen him yet this year. So you're missing two of the three Monstars, just Calais Campbell, the only remaining of the three. And then the young stud, the emerging star that is Justin Madubuike, after coming out and really having his probably his best game as a pro against the my goodness, I shouldn't have eaten so closely to showtime here. But Justin Madubuike is now forced out. So now you're going to ask Broderick Washington, you're going to ask Jelly, Mr. Ellis here. You're going to ask both of those guys to play way more snaps than they're typically used to, as well as Calais Campbell. And we talk about how Wink cycles guys in and out, keeps them fresh, keeps their legs under them. Well, at least for one game, he's not going to have this huge rotation. He's going to have a more limited rotation and force guys like Odafe Oweh to play a whole lot more snaps than what he's used to thus far. So here's what I'm worried about. Let's say the Lions test the Ravens run defense early and they have some success, even if it's not an immense amount of success, but if it's just 3-4 yards a clip, and then maybe that 3-4 yards a clip in the first quarter becomes 4 or 5 in the second, and then maybe gets worse in the second half. Any chance that this gives them confidence in the run game to actually continue to do so into the second half? And if the Ravens don't find themselves in a big lead, and if this is a manageable game where they're only one score or less away, the Lions being, they can then use their full complement of their playbook. They're not just going to be a one-dimensional, forced left-handed type team. They're going to be able to use all. Does that get you at all nervous that they may get confidence seeing those big names out, and they may be able to have some success on the ground?
I see what you're trying to do here. I see what you're trying to do here. Now, I will say this: your thought made me have a thought that does get me a little more concerned. Jared Goff is a good play-action quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen it throughout his career. Yeah, he's not a great quarterback, but he's a good play-action quarterback. Like that's a nice part of his game. And so, that could be something where, like you're saying, if they get consistent with the run, and then they take some shots downfield and they hit on a couple shots, we could be in some trouble there. But I'm still not concerned. I think at the end of the day, I'll tell you what, I'm tempted. I'm not going to do it, but I'm tempted to say if Odafe gets a sack this game, I might just call it double jeopardy and count it for 2. I'm not going to do that, but I did think about it, but I'm feeling too good about his game. But this is what I'll say. If he produces and shows out in this game when really way more pressure's on him, the only other guy he's really got to rely on at this point, as far as a pass rush standpoint, is Calais Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be, talk about backing up a great week. That would be incredible. for him to back up what he did last week in this not as high stakes of a game. I mean, every game not as high. The game doesn't have the same notoriety that the game did before, not the same spotlight, right? But
yeah, definitely not the spotlight.
But certainly would be interesting. So, roundabout way of saying I'm not concerned about it. I think we got enough horses to get the job done. Our offense, I think, can get the job done. Having consistency up front and beating down their defense, and watching Ben Cleveland continue to get better, and watching Alejandro Villanueva on the left side gain some momentum. While not a long-term answer, we know he can do it at least better than he can do on the right side at this point. I'm all right with it. I think it's enough to get through and get it done. So I think we get out of this one with a win still. And I wasn't on the preview show, so let me just give you my score real quick.
Oh, all right. Breaking news.
Yeah, that's right. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen. Because DK, I beat you in the over-under, buddy. I beat you. That's right. Yeah. You heard it here, bro. The streak is over, son. No, I'm just kidding. I beat DK one time, and I'm over here pounding my chest.
Yeah, look at you.
He's only beat me like 80 times already. So I'm going Baltimore, 37. 37. Dang. Yep, 37 points. I'm going Detroit, 24.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yep.
That's 37. That's a lot of scoring from that Ravens offense. That tells me they're going to have some short fields and maybe even a defensive score to get to 37.
Because Goff will still get the job done in that he'll still give us the ball a couple times.
Get the job done on our behalf. Okay.
Yeah, he'll still get the job done for us. Look, could you imagine Jared Goff trying to run away from Odafe Owe?
Yeah, that wouldn't be a very long chase. It would
talk about a lion and a gazelle. I mean,
yeah, that would be a quick chase. It'd be over very, very fast. But look, DeAndre Swift, I'm not sure of his availability. I don't think he's going to be able to go, but I guess it's still a possibility. He's listed as questionable right now.
I know you liked him coming out.
I did. I absolutely did. And I think I had him on one of my fantasy teams last year. I think he's a really good player. It's just hard to trust a Lions running back to do anything because they haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since Barry was there. And that's a long, long time ago. But they do have Jamal Williams backing up DeAndre Swift, another guy I'm a big fan of. I really love his personality. I mean, I think he's a good player too, but I think he's very entertaining.
I think you just like BYU running backs. Between him, Tyson Williams, what's up?
I think you just have hatred for BYU running backs, and honestly, I didn't even know Jamal Williams was a BYU running back. But I think he's a good player, and I think he's good enough to where he could, if he gets into a rhythm, give the Ravens some problems. So, they definitely have to. We're going to have to see a good performance out of Broderick Washington. Going to have to see a good performance out of Big Jelly Ellis, and I think he's been really good. I mean, Jelly Ellis has been, I think, a really underrated type player for the Ravens. I think a guy who's been there for him when they needed him. And then it'll be nice to also see Josh Bynes coming up from the practice squad. Hopefully we see him. He was a stabilizing force a couple years ago when the Ravens were desperate in the middle. So it'll be nice to see him certainly bring that veteran leadership to the room.
And do we know anything about Jimmy?
No, still don't hear anything about Jimmy, so I'm not expecting him to be out there.
He did practice on Friday, right?
Did he practice in full or was it limited? I think I saw he's been limited in some of these practices for quite a bit now, but I haven't seen him get a full practice just yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, that I was I was thinking maybe that could be a guy that would provide some backup as well. But
no doubt about it, because that secondary is looking.
Yeah, DK
he's
practicing full.
Well, shout out. I mean, that would be awesome if he comes back. See, they got him as listed as questionable right now, where they already ruled out Ronnie and Derek Wolfe. So I guess there's a chance that he could be out there, and it'd be nice because when you're talking about Hawkinson, he's one of those he's one of those elite tight ends that we see a lot, and we've already seen two of them in the first 2 weeks. It looks like we're seeing a third. It'd be nice to have the versatility that Jimmy brings, along with that physicality and smarts that he brings as well. So hopefully he's out there, because that secondary was once very deep. It's getting very, very thin. After last week, we had 4 healthy corners, and one of them was Kevon Seymour, who didn't play very much on defense at all. So they definitely need help in the secondary, and hopefully they get some guys back. But we'll continue to monitor this situation surrounding the COVID-19 testing and the protocols that come with it. And hopefully this is the last we see of a bit of a breakout. I don't know if it's called a breakout, but
an outbreak.
I guess, but I don't even know if it's an outbreak. It's really only one guy tested positive in some close contacts.
At this point,
but either way, forces
hopefully it's
us
the
to
last
play.
of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're hoping for, and hopefully Lamar Jackson, his hip is healed after doing the front flip that forced him out of a day of practice. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. Are you concerned about losing those guys? Does this make you more nervous about this game? Or are you still remaining pretty confident? Nice. I love it. Yeah. Happy birthday to Jimbo.
Thank you.
Nice.
And Glenn, you're right around
DK.
the corner, my man.
Yeah, I'm right around. Oh, don't remind me. I'm getting older. What am I going to be? I'll be 35.
34, right?
Really? Oh, yeah, 34. Thank you, Jimmy. Yeah, I'll be 34. Yeah. Okay. Man, I'm getting my own freaking birthday or my own age wrong. That's pathetic. But yeah, let us know what you guys think, and we will talk to you soon.